And I remember her just saying, "Mom, mom, mom, are you okay?" I literally wanted to never breastfeed again because of that. And I've even asked him a couple times, "Are you lying? Are you lying? Like, tell me the truth." Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is actually going to be kind of like a 3-week update, but more about me as a mom, how it's going, how it's been, how I've been feeling, what's been working, like the real deal, nitty-gritty raw stuff that I wish people told me, that people don't really talk about, stuff that's gonna be too much information probably. And I don't know why, but I'm like super excited to make this video. I asked you guys on Instagram if you guys had any specific questions you wanted to know about this kind of stuff, and I didn't expect to get so many people with questions, to be honest. And I think that's what made me really excited, was the fact that you guys really wanted to know about it. And a lot of you guys are expecting moms, a lot of you guys don't even have kids but just want to know because you plan on having kids in the future. And you know, some of you guys are moms who just want to kind of know that you're not alone. And so let's get right to the video. So I'm gonna just grab my phone, take all your questions, and just not be, you know, in any order, and just answer it from there. Okay, so first question, how are you sleeping? Are you exhausted? So when I get the chance to sleep, I can fall asleep pretty quickly, which didn't used to happen when before I got pregnant. And yes, I'm extremely exhausted. It's just weird and crazy how your body adapts, because I mean, there were days in like the first week where I was like, I literally don't know how I am awake right now. And it's very exhausting. I think honestly, the sleep deprivation is the #1 hardest part for me. All right, next question, is my appetite back to normal? Yes, thank goodness. Like, I can pretty much eat, with my doctor's orders, I can pretty much eat whatever I want, back to sushi, all of the good stuff that I couldn't have, like deli sandwiches and things like that. So my doctor did clear me for those. Okay, so the next question is, which I feel like I've gotten probably the most questions about this, is how it is down there. So like, how is like vaginal recovery? Which first I want to mention, I did give birth naturally or vaginally. I did not have a C-section. So just to give you guys like a quick rendition of what happened, in case you have no idea, in case you're new, you don't even know that I was pregnant, I just gave birth. So I had Presley Patricia Pacheco on January 2nd, 2021. So the day after New Year's. Her due date was actually January 27. So she came at 36 weeks, which was 3 weeks early. So Presley, we just named her Presley. I've loved that name for a long time now. Patricia is after my mom. And then Pacheco is Jamie's last name, and I just still haven't changed my name. We're married, which I need to do. So she came early, and what was happening was that my fluid was low, my amniotic fluid was low, and so we always needed to monitor it. So I was constantly going in to get non-stress tests or NST, and sometimes in those testings her heart rate would decelerate or her heart rate would drop. And so that was another thing that was kind of concerning. So I was going in at least twice a week to do these NSTs, and because at the last NST, which was on January 1st, New Year's Day, because the fluid was so low and because she did have a couple drops in her heart rate, my doctor and other specialists decided that it was best to induce me. So they induced me January 2nd, and my body responded really well to, the pill that they gave me. Even inserted a balloon in me to kind of like open up, dilate, speed up the process of the induction. And I was already like fully dilated at the 5th hour. And then I pushed for like 15-20 minutes and she was out. So that was a blessing. But my body did go through a lot that day to get to that point. Lots of needles everywhere, lots of things coming out of like my vagine. But then once she came, and the fact that I didn't have to push that long, the fact that I wasn't in labor that long, was kind of like a give and take. So as far as the vaginal recovery down there, I had a small urethral tear, which was so small that my doctor didn't have to stitch me up, but they did warn me that it was gonna sting when I peed. So just like how you guys are all kind of asking me about that part, I was also the most concerned about that part, to be honest. It was more the recovery part, like having to feel now, not being on epidural, like all that comes with recovery postpartum. So it definitely did hurt to sting. I had perennial bottles where when you pee, you put warm water in it. So while you're peeing, you're spraying down there at the same time. That way it's kind of like distracting, but also it's more soothing. So when you're peeing and you're stinging, you're also feeling the warm water. It's cleaning it, not making it hurt as bad. So do that if you guys are worried, or if you have like a tear or stitches down there. I'm sure something similar happens, or they'll suggest it to you. So definitely stung the first, second, third. I think by the fourth day, that feeling completely went away. I think the one advice that I can tell you guys, which my other mom friends told me, was do your Kegels, because after you give birth, obviously you're like taking a whole baby out of there. And a lot of people, which is the next question, are wondering like about that, like if I sneeze or if I laugh or if I jump, if like I'm peeing at the same time. And yes, like things have expanded. And so I was shocked the first time that I needed to pee. Usually you can hold your bladder, but I remember I needed to pee and I couldn't just go to the restroom right away, and I was trying to hold it and I couldn't. But I hope it fully recovers. But I think that's where the Kegels come in. Do your Kegels to strengthen your pelvic floor. I think the next most common question I got was like, how am I? Any postpartum blues, any like signs of postpartum depression. So right now, like I don't really know how to classify if I have postpartum depression. I think I have little stints of feeling just overwhelmed, and at times just very, very emotional, where I could cry so easily at like watching an emotional video or reading something that's touching. I remember when we first came home, it was so overwhelming that when, people would send me flowers and they would get delivered to my house, like I would just bawl. And I could bawl right now thinking about it. I don't really know if that's part of it. I don't even know if I was just so happy to be receiving the flowers, or if it just receiving the flowers reminded me of like how much of a change I'm going through currently. And at the same time, like I would worry about just everything, like how my life is changing, my relationship with Jamie, how am I going to navigate this? How am I going to go back to work? And just overwhelmed. Like I'm breastfeeding, the sleep is out of control. So yeah, I think that I do feel, my emotions are really just crazy with the hormones and just the change. Okay, the next question is how you have the time to get ready every day. I give Jamie the baby for like an hour or so, and I'm pumping, so he has milk if she ever wakes up and is hungry, but he gladly takes her because he's her dad, and that's also his responsibility for just, an hour or whatever, while I get ready as quick as I can, take a quick shower, and that's how I'm able to do it. Presley's still at that age where she's sleeping like 2-3 hours, sometimes even 4. So that's also kind of how I'm able to do that. All right, next, what the first couple days of bringing home baby P was like. Such an adjustment, such a change. I feel like I was in a daze, like a dream. Like I think at one point I even told myself in my head, like if I blink, she's still gonna be here. Like this is so surreal. Like I cannot believe I have a baby in my house. It was crazy. Next question, books that you read prior and postpartum. First time mom here. So I didn't read any books, but I did watch a bunch of stuff, and we did take online Zoom classes, like private Zoom classes on newborn care, on breastfeeding, and I think a third one that I can't really remember. So that we took closer to giving birth. That way we would at least feel like we would remember it a little bit better rather than doing it so early on. So that's the way Jamie and I did it, and I will also link the link. It's called Pre-Parented, and that's who we took the classes from. So that's what we did. Okay, next question. What have you done for yourself to help adjust or recover? I kind of mentioned that earlier before, but other things that I wanted to mention that they will provide for you at the hospital, but you can also bring your own. Frida Mom and Frida Baby are like lifesavers. So get like the Frida Mom or Frida Baby What the Fuss package, and also get the Frida Mom postpartum package that comes with like the perennial foam, ice packs, underwear. I pretty much used that whole package, and I think you will too. Hospital does give it to you, but for me, like, the hospital gave me mesh underwear that was really comfortable, but it was like huge, really huge on me. And when you're like wearing a pad and a thick ice pad and the underwear is big, it's like falling off you, and it just wasn't comfortable. So the Freedom Mom like postpartum package was so helpful. So those things helped recover. Like Witch Hazel pads help recover, but also the Freedom Mom comes with those pads. The ice packs that are really cold from Freedom Mom or the hospital, they help just soothe. Nipple cream or those Lanzino gel covers are really soothing. Also, be sure to bring hemorrhoid cream or hemorrhoid wipes just in case you do end up with hemorrhoids, just because you never know. A lot of women push so hard that they end up with that, and then you're gonna need something for that as well. So next question, did you have help from anyone else besides Jamie, seeing that you're a first-time mom? So my mom planned on being here even before like Presley was born, but with COVID, obviously that's what's stopping her. My mom lives super far away in Saipan, which is by Guam. It's in the Pacific, and the flight to get here is like a whole day. You know, they're older. My dad has underlying conditions, and so like for them, it's so scary for her to think about coming to LA. There's like barely any COVID cases where they're at, but she may come in the summertime. In all transparency though, we did look into a night nurse, and we did hire a night nurse just because that's one of the parts where we're struggling with. Like, I don't have my mom. I feel like most people have their moms or a family member that can help them. We have a night nurse who used to be a paramedic. Now she does this, and she's a doula full time, and she's really great. And she just comes in for like 8-10 hours at a time a night, just so that we can sleep and literally be here in the daytime with her all day, because again, we are believers that as long as we can, you know, give ourselves the things we need to be happy and like, yeah, then we're able to give Presley the best life and also keep her happy. So again, this is our journey. This is our life. I know a lot of people are going to make judgments about, you know, us having that type of help. I've never been one to judge. I'm all for whatever works for whatever lifestyle you have. All right, next question. Any postpartum hair loss? So no, not yet at least. I don't know. A lot of women have been telling me that it's going to happen, like for sure. I haven't experienced it. I don't even know when those things usually come around. I'm hoping it doesn't. I do have some product that I kept that is for that, but right now it's still going well, and I'm not taking my prenatals anymore. Next question. I got a lot of questions about like my figure, how, you know, I've been able to bounce back, get back to shape. So I haven't worked out. This is like the longest stretch I haven't worked out for. Third trimester, I didn't work out really at all. The way I used to, I just would do like prenatal workouts, like prenatal Pilates and yoga, mostly things to help relieve the pain. And I still have not done one workout. I don't even know if it's safe right now. I don't even know when's the safe time to do it. So again, I am very thankful that I feel like I bounce back pretty fast, but that's just me. And like I said, my baby's petite. Now, if I had a baby who was maybe like 7 pounds, 8 pounds, I wouldn't probably be where I'm at right now. So I always keep those things in mind. Like, don't try to compare yourself to me. I'm not fully where I was at, which I'm fine with also. Like, I fit some of my jeans, but I don't fit all of them. Next question, which I think is an important one, and also a lot of people asked about it, your breastfeeding experience and how that's going for you. So, oh my God, let me just prepare myself for this part. Okay, I think the worst part was when I was in the hospital and, you know, I already had Presley. I think I woke up after being asleep, and I woke up and my breasts were so big and so full that I just kind of thought that that was normal, right? And one of the nurses came in and she, thank God for this nurse, and she was like, oh my God, you need to literally get that milk out. We need to massage your breasts, like you're so engorged. And I was in so much pain from the engorgement. She came in and she massaged my boobs and it was so painful. And I remember her just saying, Mom, 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 are you okay? And I was closing my eyes at the time and I woke up and I didn't wake up. I opened my eyes and I just had tears out and I'm like, no, I am not okay. This is so painful. So in my breastfeeding class that we took, engorgement was one of the topics that we talked about. And I guess I just didn't really think it would happen to me. I don't know. I don't know what I thought, to be honest. I just listened to everything she said and I just thought it was just one of the things that may happen, not like it's gonna happen. I want to say that engorgement happens to everyone because pretty much every mom I spoke to said it happened to them. Also going home like that, it was scary. I literally wanted to never breastfeed again because of that. But I kind of just learned to take the milk out every time it's getting full, just pump or feed or do both and massage it and put heat. Go in the shower, run warm hot water and massage it out. And I pump maybe 2-3 times a day, but it's also my nipples are so sensitive and they hurt. So it kind of just never ends, to be honest, and I'm just taking it day by day. I also am not taking for granted because when she does breastfeed, I just literally stare at her and I love like that moment and I love bonding with her. So next question, did you need diapers for yourself after birth? I'm due in July and I'm worried. I didn't need diapers. Those diapers that I mentioned from Frida Mom were very helpful, but when I went home, I just used a regular, pad and just some like hip huggers or boy shorts or even just normal granny panties, to be honest. Okay, next question. How is your husband doing? Postpartum update from him would be awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get him in here. It's kind of hard because he's downstairs with Presley. And I don't really want to wake her up because she's sleeping. But I've been worried about him too, just because I was thinking like if I'm feeling a certain way, I wonder if he's also feeling that way. So, I've asked him a couple times like, how are you? And he's always just so positive. He's always just been that way. That's just who he is. And I've even asked him a couple times, are you lying? Are you lying? Like, tell me the truth. So let me try to call him, FaceTime him and see if we can do it that way. So I'm filming my video and one of the questions is, how is Jamie doing? So I thought that we would do, since it's hard to bring Presley up here, that we can FaceTime and I can show on camera. So they want to know how you're doing.
Oh, I'm doing great. I love taking care of her.
Are you really doing great though?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
She's an easy baby to take care of.
Yeah.
She loves the milk from your breast, and she loves the milk from the bottle. So that gives me...
She takes it both, which thankfully.
Yeah, that gives me the ability to feed her from the bottle. She's a great latcher, which is awesome. So whenever I feed her the bottle, it's kind of like a bonding moment that I have with her. So I love it. It's great.
But you're doing good. You're adjusting as a dad. Are you?
Yay. I love it. Yeah, I love being a dad.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think other dads should know or other moms?
Yeah. Before Presley was born, there was a lot of dads that were saying, there is more of a bonding with the mother, which is true because of, breastfeeding. But I feel like I have a bond with her because I can feed her the bottle. She's a great latcher. I feel like she knows me, knows my smell. And I feel like we get that one-on-one time whenever I feed her. So, yeah, I haven't had any problems. I love her. I love being a dad.
Yeah, and you're doing such a good job.
Thank you.
All right, I'll call you later.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye.
Okay.
Love you. Bye. So, yeah, there you go. That's his answer, straight from him. What was honestly kind of annoying was, all his guy friends, I guess, telling him, all they're going to want is your mom, or the mom, there's nothing really much you can do. But I didn't want him to kind of get that in his head. Thankfully, he wanted that bond on his own and wanted to create that bond on his own despite what a lot of guys were telling him. Like, he loves those moments. He actually wishes he was the one that could breastfeed, because he looks at me and how we have that bond, and he's sad that he doesn't have that kind of direct, intimate bond. So he really takes advantage of when he gets to feed her with the bottle. Literally, when she wakes up, he like tells me to hold on, like, hold on, don't just get her out, like, I want to watch her stretch, I want to do the, you know what I mean, like, he spends time with her. So like, don't let people tell your husband those things, or even if you think those things, like, don't tell him, and just let them form their own special bond, I think. Next question, is it true you bleed for 40 days straight afterwards? So bleeding is supposed to happen at least for 6 weeks after you give birth, and I am still bleeding. It has lessened tremendously. I actually am really happy, but I don't know if it's a good thing, but I'm really happy that I'm not bleeding like crazy. It was like kind of heavy in the beginning, and then it just, like, right now I can just use a liner instead of a pad, so that's great. Yeah, you bleed for about 6 weeks. All right, next question. When did you know you were ready to be a mom? I don't think I was really that ready. I just knew that I wanted kids, and I knew I was getting older. I think the hard part was like my career. I'm very career driven. Like, I love what I do. Like, as long as I have a career, I'm always gonna have that worry. So why not just have a kid now? I didn't want to wait any longer. I'm already 33. Okay, next question. What products do you find most helpful? 2 really helpful products. Number 1 is the DockATot, because we're able to literally bring her with us wherever we are. I've literally filmed a video with her right next to me while she's sleeping, and then Jamie right now is able to have her in his office while working in the DockATot. And then the number 2 thing I would say for us is the snot sucker. So babies are like congested when they come out. You know, you literally put one end in your mouth and one end in their nose, but not like all the way. You just kind of barely put it in their nostril, and you just suck, and it just takes all the mucus out or whatever is uncomfortable for them. And that's been really helpful, because there was a time, actually twice, where she sneezed after feeding and milk literally came out of her nose along with mucus, and it was just so painful to see. But I had that snot sucker and I sucked all of that stuff out, and she was able to just feel good again. And then also the bulb syringe, because she is a spitter upper. When that whole thing with her nose after sneezing happened, she just had a lot of stuff in her mouth, like bubbles and spit up, and so she couldn't really get it out herself, so I used the bulb syringe to get it out. Okay, next question. How long do you do tummy time with her for? So as soon as her stump fell out, we started doing tummy time, and we literally do it until she like gets really fussy or starts to cry. And she's really strong, she's really alert, she's like picking up her head slightly, and she's looking left and is looking right, and is able to stay on her tummy for quite a while. And we got her those black and white flashcards, because right now newborns are only able to see black, white, and red. So while she's on tummy time, we show her those flashcards, because that's the only colors they're able to see, and that helps with brain development. So we're already teaching her some stuff. All right, next question. How much weight did you gain during your pregnancy? This was a hard thing for me during pregnancy. Like, I was pretty down about it. I would cry about it. I had a hard time gaining weight during my pregnancy. I would eat as much as I could, but at the same time, when you're really like starting to show, you can't even eat that much. At least I couldn't, just because you don't even have that much room in your stomach. And then when you do eat a lot, it's so tight and so full that you're so uncomfortable. Your back starts to hurt. At least that's what I experienced. So for me, being so petite and so small, like, it was just hard. Like, I couldn't gain weight, and then Presley wasn't really gaining weight either. Like, her abdomen was small. So then I had to kind of change up my way of eating and eat more throughout the day. So smaller portions, but more throughout the day. So I started doing that. I even started eating like not the greatest stuff, just for high fat content, you know, just like milkshakes and things that my doctor would be like, literally just eat. My normal weight before Presley was 105, and I just could never get past the 122 or 123 weight mark. Like, I just couldn't get past that. So I gained about like 20 22, 23 pounds, and that was it. I even had a scale, and I would always get on that scale just to see if I'd gain weight. And Jamie at some point had to tell me, like, just stop getting on the scale. Like, it's not gonna help you. Just continue what you're doing, and we'll keep eating. I'll keep feeding you, and just focus on that. And that was hard for me just because I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I wasn't giving her what she needed, and it was like my fault why she came early. And that makes me emotional. So it's just, I didn't gain that much weight. Okay, next question. How has your relationship with Jamie changed? So that was one of the things that I was really worried and down about when we brought her home, was like, oh my gosh, like we're so used to just being us and having our time, watching our shows together, and that was like one of our favorite things to do. And now we're like barely able to do that. We try to find time, but it's hard. It's like I want to take a nap instead of watch a show. It hasn't really changed. I feel like in a way it's like we're kind of talking to each other less. I don't even know how to explain it, just because we're always both so fixated on her. But I do feel closer to him, and it's funny because he said it a couple days ago. He goes, I feel like it's brought us closer, and it made me so happy because I felt that way too. I don't know why I just didn't say it, but when he said it, it made me feel so good, because it is true. Like, it is overwhelming, and you can go, I think, 2 different ways in your relationship if you allow it. I don't think we've allowed it. I think we've also been communicating. He's asked me how I've been. I've asked him how he's been, and like, we're still trying to kind of, as much as possible, put each other first and make each other happy and not forgetting about each other. So I think that's helped. And I think we're just so in awe about our creation that it brought us closer. Okay, so next question, I'm going to combine 2. Did you experience hemorrhoids, and did you poop while you were giving birth? So I didn't poop, which I'm kind of amazed at, because I just feel like it happens more often than not. And so I was for sure thinking that I was going to end up pooping anyway, but I didn't. And then did I experience hemorrhoids? I did while I was pregnant, but I don't think I did after. Thankfully it wasn't crazy. I feel like a lot of times you might have it and not even know. So just be aware of that. So next question, how did you find your pediatrician, and do you like them, and what are your postpartum appointments like? We found our pediatrician through a referral. My girlfriend, thank God for her, she referred me to my doctor, who I love, and she also referred us to her pediatrician's office. We don't have the same pediatrician, but that whole office that we go see in Santa Monica is amazing. Like, any of those doctors in that office would have been amazing. I just can tell. I will say that, you know, when you're in the hospital after you give birth, a pediatrician comes around to check on you and the baby. So he was great, and people were recommending him from the hospital, and so we just naturally felt good about it, and we ended up going with him for her first appointment. And when we went into his office and when we met him for her first appointment, there was just something off. It was kind of different than what we felt at the hospital. We felt so rushed during the first appointment. I felt like I couldn't get all our questions in, and he already just walked out the door. I didn't like that. And so I literally immediately afterwards, I said to Jamie, I'm like, let's go visit the office that our friends go to. Literally right after that appointment, we were at the other pediatrician's office, and we had another appointment scheduled with them. And literally her doctor is, oh my God, I wish she was my doctor. She gives us all the time in the world. She spends so much time with us. She lets us ask every single question without making us feel like we're annoying or we're stupid, or like that she's pressed for time. She acts like she literally has no appointments and that we're her only appointment, because we're scared. We're first-time parents. We don't know what the hell we're doing. She'll literally hold Presley the whole time that we're in that appointment so that we can ask her the questions. And so if we have any questions for her, she demonstrates on Presley physically what we can or should be doing. Probably look for those kinds of things in your pediatrician. And sorry I said a mouthful. I just love Presley's pediatrician so much. So did you experience any stretch marks? So thankfully I didn't experience any stretch marks during and now postpartum, but I still used all the products that most people would. It would itch anyway, so having those products helped, but I do have stretch marks on my butt, and I've always had stretch marks on my butt. Okay, another question is, did you use like any girdles or you know, any of those Belly Bandits. So I bought one. I was so sure I was going to use it right after the hospital or even while I was in the hospital, but I didn't, and I still haven't used it to this day. And I asked one of my girlfriends, you know, because she had one and she would use it all the time, and I'm like, did it really help you? She was like, I don't really think it helped. So I think it just depends. You know, I think for some women it helps more than others. Next question, are you already using the Snoo and how's it going? So yeah, we are using the Snoo. How's it going? You know, I don't know. Like, I feel like she likes it, and then I feel like sometimes she doesn't like it. Sometimes I feel like she's so used to her DockATot during the day. When she goes in the Snoo, it's like she knows she's not in her DockATot. I think we all just kind of still need to get more comfortable and more used to the Snoo, to be honest. All right, next question. This one also got asked a lot, is like, what do you wish people had told you that they didn't? Or like, what did you wish you knew? Honestly, like, I wish there was a lot, but I feel like if you don't have a kid and if you're not expecting one, whatever people tell you, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. Unless you're like so passionate about it and like so looking forward to having it, then you might take it in differently. But I mean, I have had so many mom friends for years. Like, I'm like the one that is late in the game to having kids among like a lot of my friends, and so they would always tell me all these things, and I've heard it, you know, and I listened and I paid attention, and I knew it was hard, and people say it's hard, but it's just completely different when you're in it. Presley spits up a lot. I think I mentioned that, and so that freaks me out, but it's also so normal, I think, is what like my pediatrician and a lot of other friends of ours have told us. So I think prepare for that, because it can be scary. Sometimes it's not just like spit up, it's like spit up, like for real. So that still freaks me out, and I still feel bad about it. I wish people would emphasize the breastfeeding part more, like not just breastfeeding being time consuming, but like the downsides of it, like the mastitis and the engorgement, because I had no clue those things ever happened. And I wish that people were more supportive of having help, hiring help. I feel like people are so judgmental these days about that. Okay, next question, and this is gonna be towards the last few questions, or maybe the last question. I don't want this video to be too long, but milk supply, anything you did to increase it? So milk supply kind of, I think, just comes naturally, right? You start breastfeeding as soon as you give birth. Like, the milk comes in as much as you're feeding. So if you're feeding and pumping, then your milk is just gonna come. It's its own brain. It knows like when to replenish itself. It knows how much you're feeding and how much needs to come in. Some moms produce like a well of milk, and some moms produce just enough. And then some moms aren't able to produce as much as they want. I'm not exactly like overflowing, but I want to say I'm producing like as much as I am feeding. Like, my body knows how much it needs to produce to feed Presley and provide for pumping and breastfeeding. I wanted to also quickly mention that during the hard parts, one of the things that really helped me was my girlfriend sent me this little like almost like a poem, some excerpt on Instagram from We Are Mamas, and it basically was as if a baby was writing a letter to her mom, because through all of this hardships, all of this craziness and drastic change that you're going through as a parent, as a mom, as a dad, it can be so overwhelming and so even discouraging at times and frustrating, and you're dealing with all of that on top of the no sleep, on top of like the baby blues if you have that. But this poem or whatever, basically saying like, I know it's hard right now, but I promise it'll all be worth it. I know you're tired, I know you're overwhelmed, but I really need you. Like, I'm small, and I'm scared, and so I need you. And so I literally bawled reading that, and that's literally every time I feel those ways, I think of that in the back of my head, like, she needs me. All right, I think this is like Hopefully not too long of a video or not too boring, but I'm really glad to share my experience. And it also honestly helps talking about it, I guess, like letting it out. It's almost like a venting session. And I don't want it to be, this is not like a negative, this is just like the truth. Let me know if there's any other videos you guys want to see. Give me some ideas. If you're liking these types of videos, give me a thumbs up, let me know in the comments. And if you're new here and you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.
I just wanna